We're back. Got a blue screen. I think from overheat. What's up, Bruce Daria? I think shut it down. Too based. Shut it down. Oh no. Let's let the circuits all take a break for a second. Let's see what happened here. Well, I can get topless real quick. Don't you double JK me. Is it time to party? The computer just like overheated. But it sounds good now. I need to like pour the vent of the air conditioner into it. And everybody left. No more friends and Mahadis. Yeah, I should hook like an air conditioner up to this computer. Oh yeah, it's hot as fuck. Didn't get much airflow down there. Just just like give it its own fan. Some shit. So you live in the Southlands? Southlands. No, I live in Cali. Cali. I live in Cali. Can't. Cali. Clue or Cali. I live in Cali. Yeah. Wanna be one of the cool kids. Of the cool kids. Of the cool kids. Doesn't everybody wanna be one of the cool kids? Of the cool kids. Of the cool kids. Wanna be one of the cool kids. Of the cool kids. Of the cool kids. Yeah, nobody likes
So we've been hitting this one too many times.
Let's watch some scary videos.
Yo, what up? This is He to Succeed.
My PC. Yeah, my PC was a cheap gaming PC, so it has an AMD and it hella fucking cools the shit out of it. And it's fucking hot as fuck. So it needs to stay cooler and be a good PC. I might put like a fucking I might buy a cooling system for it. That'd be a good investment. Or just make one for it. Some cheap fucking air or water cooling bullshit. Or I could get a mini AC and then just like vent off. Take a little 4-inch ducting, vent it into the PC. That'd be pretty cool. That's what I want to do. You can't use a swamp cooler because it can't be wet for the PC. I wonder how much they're selling PC liquid cooling systems for on eBay. Liquid cooling kit. Oh yeah, see, it's only $100. 69 bucks. Liquid cooling. Yeah. Time for TikTok Tech Talk. Liquid cooling or PC. TikTok Tech Talk.
Water cooling is a great way to keep your computer running ultra cool and ultra quiet. And while it takes a bit of work to set up, it can be much more effective than traditional air cooling with fans. It's great for gamers, overclockers, or anyone else that would like to just keep their computer running silent and cool, not to mention looking awesome. Here we'll just be showing you a quick overview of what it takes to build a custom water cooling loop. For more detailed how-to, check out the article on Lifehacker below. Here's a basic rundown of what you'll need. First, you'll need a water block. This is the hardware that sits on your processor, graphics card, or other component and transfers heat from the water. We'll just be cooling our CPU today, but you can grab water blocks for your GPU and other parts if you like. Next, you'll need a radiator and some fans. This is what actually cools the water as it goes through the loop. Make sure you get one that fits inside your case. In this loop, we're using a 240mm radiator. You'll also need a pump and a reservoir. You can buy these separately, but many come as bundled packs, and in our case, we're going to be using a pump reservoir combo. For each component, you'll also need two fittings. These are what connect the tubing between each part of the loop. We're using regular barb fittings, but you can also get some better looking, more expensive compression fittings that contain an extra attachment for a super secure fit. Lastly, of course, you'll need some tubing. We're just using some plain clear tubing in this build, but tubing comes in all sorts of colors and sizes, so check around to find some you like. Whatever you choose, just make sure the inner and outer diameter of the tubing is compatible with the inner and outer diameter of your fittings. You can buy all of these parts separately, but we've chosen to go with an all-in-one kit from XSPC. It's much cheaper, performs just as well, and comes with everything you need, so you don't have to research it yourself. The one thing that won't come with your kit is a coolant. You can buy all sorts of cooling fluids online, but we've chosen to go with distilled water. It's cheap, simple, and gets the job done just as well as anything else. You also need a funnel, as well as some additives for your water. These can include, but are not limited to, a biocide, which keeps algae and other gunk from growing in your loop, and an anti-corrosive, which is useful for loops containing multiple different kinds of metal, like copper and aluminum. You can also use a small piece of silver called a kill coil instead of a biocide additive, since silver acts as a natural biocide.
Nice.
You can also add a drop or so of dishwashing liquid to your loop, which helps keep bubbles out and can help keep your pump running very quiet. You don't recommend using color additives, since they can often gunk up the loop.
Shit.
If you want color, just get some colored tubing. Now that you've gathered up everything you need, here's how to set it up and get it running. Before you do anything else, you'll want to look inside your case and plan out how your loop is going to work. Figure out where you can mount your reservoir and pump using the included hardware. Decide where your radiator is going to sit, and then decide how you're going to connect all the parts together. Your reservoir should sit right before your pump in the loop, so the pump never runs dry. From the pump, you can go to your radiator, then to your water block, then back to your reservoir, or vice versa. You may have to tweak this setup once you actually start connecting the tubing, but at least get a good idea of where you expect everything to go now. Next, you'll want to rinse out your hardware. For your reservoir and tubing, you can rinse it out just by running some distilled water through it. For your radiator, you'll want to heat up some of that distilled water, fill it up about 2/3 the way, and then shake it for a few minutes.
Yeah, right.
Dump out the water into a bowl, and you'll see quite a bit of buildup and debris comes out. So repeat this process until the water comes out cleanly. This will help keep that debris from getting inside your loop. Now it's time to install the water block. Remove your current cooler and wipe off the thermal paste with some isopropyl alcohol and some toilet paper. Then, add a new dab of thermal paste. Remember, less is more. And then set your water block on the CPU. Put the backplate on the back of your motherboard and start screwing it in just like you would any other cooler. Make sure to screw it in a star pattern so you apply pressure evenly to each side of the block.
Last time.
When you're done with that, you can move on to your radiator. I'm mounting my radiator internally at the top of my case, but if you have a smaller case, you may have to do it externally using the included brackets. Screw on your radiator and attach your fans of choice. The last piece of hardware we need to install is our reservoir. We're going to use a reservoir that sits in our external drive bays, so all we need to do is slide it in, plug in the power connector, and we're good to go. Now it's time for the fun stuff, connecting your tubing. First, grab your fittings and screw them into the inlets and outlets of each of your components, the CPU block, the radiator, and the reservoir.
I think it's better with
Make sure to screw these in tightly so you don't have any leaks. I like to give them an extra twist with a pair of pliers to make sure everything's on snug. Then, get your tubing and connect it to one of your fittings. Measure out how much tubing you need to connect it to the next component in the loop.
It's supposed to be a heat transferring,
and then cut the tubing as straight as you can.
Paste.
Connect that end to your next component in the loop and make sure it fits tightly. If you want a bit of extra security, you can use hose clamps or zip ties to keep them in place. Repeat this process with the other runs in your loop. You may find that some of your runs produce kinks in the tubing, which is bad for your water flow. In that case,
paste is just supposed to conduct it better.
The shorter the runs, the better, but you want to make sure everything is kink-free before you continue. Now we're going to fill up our loop with water. If you want, you can disconnect everything from the computer and fill it up outside the case, but we're going to do it inside. As long as you go slowly and make sure everything is secure, you shouldn't ruin any of your components. Just place some paper towels under any fittings, and if you do spring a leak,
I don't
quickly
know
stop
about
the flow.
that banter, man.
Yeah,
Ceramics is a great
try again after your
insulator.
hardware has had a chance to fully dry, usually after about 24
It's
hours.
not a great conductor.
Now, before you fill it up, you'll want to jump your power supply.
My
This helps
paste
us
was
test
like
the
a
fans and the pump
paste that
without
had
actually
aluminum
turning on the
shit
full
in it,
computer.
which
Disconnect your
aluminum's a
24
pretty good
power cable from
conductor,
your motherboard
but
and
it's not
plug
as
the
good as
green wire to
copper
one
or
of the
silver
black
or
wires
gold.
in the paper clip.
But it's all I
Some
had,
kits come with a small
and I
jumper
didn't want to
that
put it with
suits
no
the
paste, but which would
Next,
probably be
add your
fine,
liquid
just
additives
metal
to
on
your water,
metal.
if applicable,
But I think it's
and
like to
fill
make them
everything
hella
up.
seal
Stick your
up
funnel in
on
the
each
reservoir
other.
spill port and carefully pour your water
But
in,
that
almost
thermal
filling it up to the
powder
top
shit
of the
always
reservoir.
dries up and it's like
Some may
fucking
empty into
gook
the tubing in
when I
this
take
tank,
it off.
and that's
That
okay.
can't be good.
When your reservoir is
Thermal
filled up,
paste is a
flick the switch on the
scam.
back of your computer and let
We
the
heard
water
it here
flow
first,
Once
folks.
your reservoir gets about halfway down, turn the computer
I'm not a
off,
rocket
or the pump runs
scientist or
dry,
anything.
and fill up the reservoir to the top again. Flip the power switch and let the water
I
flow
could be
again,
if I tried.
repeating this process until your reservoir
Right.
stays filled up. Double check for any leaks, and if everything's okay, you have yourself a working water loop. The last step is to let the entire loop test for about 24 hours. Check back with it frequently to make sure it isn't leaking anywhere. And
Do you really need that goopy, gray, weird-smelling paste on your CPU? Can't we just sit our impressive-looking heat sinks on top of our processors and be done with it? No, not even remotely, and here's why. Many heat sinks don't sit flat against your CPU, and in some cases with good reason, but that might be for another video. Rather, they're either concave or convex, so there's a fair amount of space where your heatsink and processor aren't making proper contact. Also, even though the top of your CPU or the bottom of your heatsink might look perfectly smooth, even shiny in some cases, they're actually
Yeah.
rougher at the microscopic level than you might think. And as a result, they don't actually sit completely flush against
Well,
each
then
other.
shit
This
I
means
used
that
probably
without thermal
pretty
compound, air pockets exist between your CPU and your heatsink. So why is that a problem?
good.
Well, it turns
Air
out that
pockets
even though
great.
hot or cold air
Mm.
makes dramatic difference in how your body feels
Just gotta touch
as the
it.
seasons change, air is actually a very poor conductor of heat in general. If you don't believe me, try holding a steak an inch above a frying pan instead of placing it inside, and let me know how that goes for you. So thermal paste fills these would-be air gaps so that your heatsink and CPU are touching more directly. And, the good stuff anyways, is also made from special materials that help conduct heat properly so that it can go up into your heatsink.
Aluminum
So while you
nitride.
can use toothpaste
That's what I
as
used
thermal
anyways.
compound to save money, you probably really shouldn't. For this to work best, the conducting material in thermal paste is usually some sort of metal, with more expensive varieties containing things like powdered silver. And while this makes sense since metal conducts heat quite well, it used to cause problems for novice builders who put on too much thermal compound because metal paste can also end up being electrically conductive. Oops. Fortunately, it's less of an issue these days, with higher quality compounds like Arctic Silver 5 managing to remain non-conductive in spite of using metal, though you still need to keep it away from metal contacts and traces, as it is mildly capacitive, which can still be a problem. But if you want to be really safe, you can buy thermal paste that contains no metal at all. These are typically made of ceramic, though more exotic solutions that contain things like
Oh,
diamonds
ceramic.
do exist,
You're
although
right.
they sadly won't add
Oh,
up
shit,
when
my
factors can be big.
face.
They will do a decent job of keeping your processor cool, however.
Good job,
The
Benjamin.
downside
Good
of
job.
these is that you typically
Good
won't
job.
get
You're an
quite
old
the
man.
same
You're
level
older
of
than me.
performance as you
You
would
got a
with
good
more
computer. It's better than
metallic-based
mine. You
but
built it good. You
high-quality
know more
ceramics are
about it
not
than I
only
do.
cheaper,
I'm proud of
they
you.
will
job.
also only set you back by a few degrees
I'm
in most
proud.
cases and are actually
But
the
guess
best
what?
option
I'm
for
creeping
exotic
up on
custom
yes.
which you can check out.
I'm gonna get my business.
And of course, if you want
I'm
to
gonna get a
avoid messes
fucking
entirely,
more
you
shit
can
than
get
you
thermal
have,
pads,
Benjamin.
usually just made of silicone.
I'm gonna be
which
more
just sit
successful.
squished between your heatsink
I'm
and
creeping
whatever
up
you're
on
trying to cool. You commonly
yes.
see these on small graphics card components.
I'm on
since
yes,
there's no danger of
Benjamin. What are
leakage.
you gonna
But
do
since
about
they
it?
can't get down into
I don't think there's
the
anything you
microchemicals
can
as well
do
as
about
paste,
it.
performance won't be nearly as good.
If you got
but
something
won't
you're
see
gonna
them
do,
on
you go ahead. You let me
CPUs or
know.
the actual specific GPU very
You know.
often. Whatever you
Might
do,
have
make sure you
tricks
aren't
in the bag.
accidentally buying thermal adhesive.
Pull a rabbit out the
These
hat.
glues or epoxies permanently bond to
Alright, you
things
believe I
together.
will? No
This
problem.
used to be somewhat
It's a
common
done
in
deal
certain
then.
PC components, but has
Johnny,
now been mostly relegated to
listen
smaller
here.
electronics
See this
that
guy?
can't be taken apart.
He already
Nonetheless,
knows it's
still easy
over.
to buy, so make sure you're getting the right stuff if you don't want to end up stuck without a
It's
working
over before you even started.
I'll show myself how that was pretty cool. If you're not a member of Dollar Shave Club yet, join today and get your first month of razors for free. They deliver amazing razors directly to your door. Membership means that you
I'm
can probably
creeping
afford
up
to shave
on
an express 40 if
yes.
you want, which is fantastic. You'll get
You think you're the top dog, the top tycoon of the egg fam. Just give it a little time. You'll see, Johnny. Don't fight it.
I'm so glad you're here. I came
If you can keep your head while those around you can't.
A wild arm bit me in the leg, and now I'll have to amputate it. Lava? No, my fucking leg. Fuck. And what now? I'm not
Good
leaving home.
sunshine.
Me and my family will make a fundraiser to gather enough money to afford new headset-like prosthesis. With that prosthesis, I'll be able to live a normal life and be happy with the ones I love. Great. How much you have to gather? About $10,000.
What? Oh, pathetic. With that kind of money, you could save a child from death.
But I am no child.
No, you're a fucking loser of life.
Ooh,
I've seen
Pad.
people doing better without having two legs. And probably you got
Yeah.
bitten because you tried to have sex with that llama. Wasn't it like that, Carl?
But Jimmy,
Wasn't it?
I don't think any of them are
Jimmy,
personally
please.
I
self-made
don't want
wealthy,
you
though.
to be my friend anymore.
Yeah, trust
And now
fund Nazi is
excuse me,
exactly it.
But I...
A sea bear.
Oh, okay.
And I'm with one of my subscribers, and we're gonna speak on some shit. We're gonna speak on
Corbin
his,
Dallas.
well, we got you there. All right, so what we're gonna speak on is
Corbin.
we're gonna basically call Mr. Lucario out. All right, I gotta call Mr. Lucario out because I just realized some things, and what I realized is that and we look at the evidence, and you say, well, Mr. Lucario has a lot of women dealing with him, so we could easily say if you get all the women and then they rate Mr. Lucario, they'll probably say, well, he's an 8, right? You'll say Mr. Lucario's an 8.
I agree with that.
And Mr. Lucario, you a motherfucking 8.
At least, at the very least, a 7.5
And
or above.
you at least a motherfucking 8 or 7.5. You say,
At least, at the very least.
bro, round that shit up. In math, when it's a 7.5,
Yeah,
you
and I
round it
said
up.
above 7.5. So yeah.
So what
Like
we're
a
saying
8.
is this:
All right.
you're a fucking 8, dog. And when a motherfucker is when a guy is an 8, what that means is he could just exist, and women are gonna get at him. All right, women will just get at you if you're just an 8 and you're existing. Woman will come into your life. women will invade your space. We've seen it with certain dudes that the dude could be passive, right? Have no game. Have no game. The dude could just go to work, watch football, eat, sleep, be a bum. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker barely graduated high school. Yeah, he's got hoes dealing with him like that. And what I said in my previous video is, if a woman is feeling you like that, she will invade your space. She will get into your, she'll just invade your, she'll occupy your presence. So, and Mr. Lucario, I guarantee you, he has certain women invading his space. So what credibility does he have? What credentials does he have when it comes to trying to teach game when he's basically got the looks to where women are approaching him? You'll co-sign that? Well, what do you think?
Yes, I will.
So what do you think? So guys who are eights, speak on what guys who are eights are.
Well, like what I was saying earlier was like the perfect example. Like I'm not gonna name no names, but I got this guy at work, right? And like he'll be getting some attention from women. Like I'll be noticing that, and I'm not hating. I respect that. Like okay, he's getting attention from women, but I be overhearing, like from time to time, I'll be overhearing this conversation. I'll just, like I told you earlier, right? Like I'll hear him just come up and say this goofy ass shit, and I'm just in the
I know you're talking about. I know you're talking about.
I don't name no names. Like
I know you're talking about.
I'll just hear him come up with this goofy ass shit, and I'm thinking in my mind,
goofy ass shit, like stupid shit.
I don't think like in my mind, if I said that shit, it's over.
Like motherfucker drooling.
The conversation is
like
over.
like a special needs dude drooling, his lip drooling. You know what I'm saying? The motherfucker walking with a limp. That special ed, like a short bus rider.
But I'm saying these girls are still fucking with him. Like I'll hear him say this goofy ass shit, right? And then the next day, the very same girl is still, on his side, still on his
by
shit.
his side, basically dealing with him. And the dude's got no game. All right, let's keep it real. This dude dated models. Now.
Yes,
he dated an actress. This cat dated an actress, and this guy's a bum. No disrespect.
Fucking society crumbling.
But the cat is in his 30s. The cat is in his 30s.
Yeah, but I like this part of the feedback loop because these niggas is from Cali.
He's in his 30s.
And they got that gangsta twist with it that I like. That flavor.
You feel what I'm saying? So,
feel what I'm saying?
Well, he is in the same boat as me.
So
he takes a ride.
So game is a myth, homie. Like you gotta realize
game's a myth, homie.
Game don't work. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just playing it for fun, man. It's just for fun.
At women,
it's for fun.
And it doesn't work. But I'll put it like this: you can have Lucario say a certain thing, and then you can have me say a certain thing, which is the same thing. And I guarantee you, Mr. Lucario is going to get the favorable response because it comes down to look. It boils down to looks. Looks is the meat and potatoes of attraction.
Right.
They talk about confidence. They talk about money. They talk about all other. That's all.
Right. Yep. That's right. I'm from Oakland, man. That's right. Yep. I'm from Oakland, man. That's right. I'm from Oakland, man. Yo, I'm from Oakland, man. I'm from Oakland. I'm from Smokeland, California, where we smoke you, roll you up and toke you. Timeco 600 series. Let's look at something cool. What's cool? What's something cool that everybody's into? You guys like street sweepers? I don't know. Alright, whatever, fuck you guys. Let's pretend like you're not here. Just do what I'd normally do if you guys weren't here. Okay. And what I'd normally do if you guys weren't here is, I'd do some important stuff. Okay? Now, the things that I would do would be, important stuff like, like get jobs and, work on, the business plan and, there's different things like that. Different things. Lots of different things. They're all great things. And, it's great stuff. Moving on. Alright, let's see if my friend the CIA guy has any new videos out. I always enjoy a good from that guy. Damn, no new videos recently. It's not good.
Hetzel dubbed it Julian's Cathedral of Time. It isn't known for sure if Hetzel ever entered a 7-Eleven store. 11 is an equally mystical number.
This guy's way boring compared to the other guy. Can't watch that guy, he's too boring. $7-Eleven. Let's watch the 7-Eleven truth video. The truth of 7/11 Illuminati staged events.
Aloha, this is Christopher Lord with Truth Literacy, House of Wisdom, and I'm bringing you a mind-blowing, absolutely shocking video of the real truth on the staged fake events in Las Vegas. So let me start off by saying that what I'm about to say is very advanced, yet I'm going to break it down so it's very simple for you to grasp and understand. Because I am 100% correct. I know this on a level that most people don't even fathom. So this is simple for me, which is why I decoded it within like an hour. And when I first heard the news,
like an hour.
I had to ask myself and go do the research real quick to see, is this real or is this fake? And once again, guys, 100,000%, it is without question a fake staged event by the elite elders of the Illuminati. Because without question, as I will prove beyond a reasonable doubt, and in fact they're comparing this event to the last horrific, or one of the most horrific events to ever, slaughters I should say, mass slaughters in history of America, blah blah blah, which is the Orlando event with the Omar Mateen, which I made videos about that and exposed it, and this is a copycat incident, as I will prove and show. So, you guys, this is a story of enlightenment, which is why this whole event has to do with El, or the El-ite, the light, the God of the Bible, the Or, the orange, the month of orange in October, past September, which is the judgment, going to the underworld. Judas gives the kiss of death to the sun, which is why he's dressed in orange. This is October, will be known as the month of orange. So I made a series called the Orange House of Death, so I would recommend definitely watching that. Get a lot of insight to what I'm saying, because I've done years and years of research, over a decade, and believe me, I'm beyond correct about all this. This is the harvest season, you guys. This is the harvest rituals. And like I said, they take the ignorance of the herd and they like to make fun of it. They do this kind of ritualistic shit. It's just insane. But I can expose it without question. This is not like a guess. This is without question 100% real of what I'm about to say, and I can prove it in 1,000 ways. And it's like a can of worms. Once you start to expose it, the whole can pops out. So I'm going to bear with me. We're going to go through this. So I'm going to make this a very quick video. And like I said, the last time I made a video like this, I don't have the time to match the images with my words, so just pay attention. You can always go through the video and look at the images to match my words if you want, but that's up to you. So everything I would use is in here. And, I wish I had the time to really make it good, but I just want to get this out there because I'm the only one that's going to make a video on the, internet, YouTube, and expose the real truth with real news of what's really going on and decode it on a level that, no one else can even understand. But I break it down. It's very simple. It's easy to see once you see it and understand the, hidden esoteric language of our world and our matrix that we live in. So, these are the ember months, the end of the age. And that's why October is the 10th month. But the word October, oct, means 8. Okay, so that's why this whole event starts at what time? At 10:08. It's the 10:8 code. Because when you say October, that's the code you're looking at right there. 10:8. Just like when you say September, it's the 7/9 code. Because septa means 7, but it's our 9th month. So all of the ember months at the end of the year, we say 10, even though it's actually 12 months. So September, October, November, December, like I said before, is actually the 9, 10, 11, 12th month. So most people don't know this. This is how they get away. But if you know etymology, you know numerology, you know gematria, etc., you're going to clearly see the calling card of the elite elders of El, the enlightened ones. And you will see their calling card, which is the sun.
which is the moon. And that's why this has to do, once again, just like the last event, on a sun's day. And that's exactly what we're talking about. The Son of God going to the underworld, being judged and condemned, slaughtered, if you will. So that's why this whole event takes place in front of the pyramid in Las Vegas, Luxor, Lux meaning light, like Lucifer. So this whole event has to do with sun sacrifice and ancient harvest rituals that were always done at this time. But modern day humans are not aware of this. So only, very few, if any, that are at least willing to speak out know what I'm talking about. So I discovered all this on my own, so nobody told me none of this. I took the last decade to, without question, dig deeper and go to higher levels than anybody ever has on all of these subjects. So I can prove it from all angles of hell or all directions because of this knowledge and wisdom. So let's get to it. They're at like the last event, the Omar event, the Orlando, or meaning the sun, like the color orange. On a sun's day, which is the sun, the color orange again. And it's the LDN performance. It's a concert, basically, just like the last time it was at a nightclub, the Orlando event, which I exposed that Omar Matan had to do with the sun rituals of harvest. It's called Omar Matan. I mean, it's just mind-blowing. The number 50 I exposed, just like this event. They first start out with the number 50, and then it goes to the 8. Yeah, because the 8th month is October, even though it's our 10th month now. So the code is so easy to see back to back. It's non-stop. Wait till I just go through all of this. You'll just be blown away. So, this is a harvest ritual. Ancient sun and moon celestial worship, the Lord of the harvest, the sacrificed one, which is the story of Jesus in the Bible, which is why this has to do with it as well. And of course, they're at the harvest ritual festival, which has corn on there, and that's the Reaper God corn, Saturn L. This all has to do with harvesting and the ancient corn dolly rituals of the sacrificed one that was offered to the gods, so that to the Elohim, so that they could bring the sun back as an offering. So that's what sacrifices is, sun sacrifices, which is why it's in the Bible, of course. And this is a harvest country festival, you guys. That's why they show the corn, like I said. It's just funny. This is the time of the Reaper. This has to do with 911. I showed this in the last event, the 50 days of Omar, and the cutting of the 7 between the sun and the moon. I'm not just kind of right, I'm 1,000% right, you guys. So this event takes place right in front of the temple of the son of Ra, religion, Ra, the sun god, the son of God. So in the pyramid of the sun, this event takes place from the Luxor. It's just unbelievable. The Mandalay Bay, the lone wolf. Once again, like last time, it's always the lone wolf, just like the lone gunman for 9/11. So this is why 9/11 also has to do with the harvest rituals and the new year. For the Hebrew New Year, Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah. This is all related 1,000%. If you do the research and watch this video and pay attention to what I'm showing you, what I'm saying, you will see without question, I am 100% correct. So, the name himself, Stephen Paddock, most people just don't listen and learn and understand etymology, so they would understand that Paddock is a field, and his name is Stephen, and has to do with, Stephanos, and it's a Bible name. That's used for the one of the 7 chosen ones to assist the apostles, the first Christian martyr and all this kind of stuff. So he has to do with the number 7 once again, and a field, as in harvesting. It's ridiculous. Every time I expose this, just like last time, and the Omar Mateen had to do with the harvest and all that, and I exposed what his name means. Same shit again.
And
Shalom,
you ask
Ashana.
yourself, who profits from all this? Why would someone shoot innocent people once again? If you're so fed up in this world and you're gonna go psycho and you go crazy, why is it always the herd is getting shot up and not the elite? I mean, if you're mad at the system and you're suppressed and all this kind of stuff, why would you go and start slaughtering fellow people who've also been suppressed? It doesn't make sense. These guys are patsies. That's why it's always a lone gunman, just like the 2001 film right before 9/11 shows what it's all about, tells you what it's all about, and it's exactly what happened. Towers being taken down, the whole 9 yards. And, it's always the patsy, the lone one, just like, JFK assassination, that's a whole son sacrifice ritual as well, if you've watched my videos in the past. So, it's funny when the name even means, harvest in a field. It's just classic. It's a calling card, guys, beyond belief. Once again, the number 50, like I said. So the 49 days after Omar Matan, and he killed 49 people, and he was the 50th person to be killed and all that kind of stuff. So the numerology is there. It's simple once you see it. This is not by accident. They don't repeat the numbers of October, the 10 and the 8, the 10 and the 8, over and over again by accident. It's there on purpose. That's the calling card of the numerics of the Illuminati. Okay? Math. Oh my God, math. All of this has to do with the harvest. So, I could go on for days blowing your mind. The obelisk, the sundial, So, this is not just some accident. Some guy went crazy. It's a staged event, which is why it's out in the open. They lay everybody out. They show when they could just simply put them in ambulance and take them to the hospital. But no, they sit there for hours with the people laid out. The crisis actors, sometimes I'm sure that they need to prove that it's a real event, so they'll go ahead and, actually kill people and have somebody go insane with mind control, MK Ultra, whatever is used. It's simple, guys. It's been out there forever. Manchurian candidate. Don't think it doesn't exist. It's simple. It exists all the time. That's why you even see it in your movies, so they let you understand and accept what's really going on. But thinking it's fake because it's in a movie. When no, it's real. It's Ra'el. And, if people just understood this whole thing, it's so simple to explain, really. If I had more time, I could sit there and just break it down beyond belief and blow any biblical scholar away. The smartest person all of them are freaking liars because they don't even, A, they're not going to tell you if they do know, and B, most of them have absolutely no idea what I'm even saying right now. So they're just pawns in a game. They have no idea the ritual numbers at 22, 32nd level, has to do with Freemasonry. So, the crowd had 22,000 people in it. The numbers don't repeat themselves. It'd be 1 in a trillion times if that ever happened to happen, But it's every single time. It's every single time. These huge events where they're going to ban the guns. Same bullshit, connecting it with ISIS once again. Do your research. Man. They've already done all this. They've already connected with ISIS. Gun control.
Fucking pharaohs.
And what do you think they found 10 rifles for? In the hotel room.
I love you, Pharaoh.
So we're talking about the 10th month, October. 10. Again, they've shoved the 10 in your face. So it goes on and on, guys. I could literally sit here forever. I got some notes here that I'm reviewing. Let's see. Just him being a lone gunman, I was just trying to stress that.
Those light bulbs they got in the Luxor are pretty mean.
Notice that he's dead.
The Luxor Skybeam is the highest profile symbol in this high-profile town. No matter where you are in the Las Vegas Valley, the light is a fixture, even a source of comfort.
We get other comments like, no matter where I go in Las Vegas, if I can see the Luxor beam, I know I'm all right. And other comments, even if I get lost in Las Vegas, I look for the beam, I can find my way home.
There are no elevators to the top of the Luxor Pyramid, and the few people who ever visit the pinnacle get there by climbing a steep series of long ladders. The first thing you learn at the top is there is no giant light bulb. Instead, 39 individual lamps housed in dark, sturdy reflectors that sprout from the floor like a forest, combine to create the light. You won't find these on sale at Walmart.
We buy these from Xenotech out of California.
Each xenon lamp costs about $1,200 and will last 2,000 hours, working more like a welder's arc than a light bulb. And how much light do they generate when humming along together?
We estimate we're at 40 billion candle power.
This is a good grow, some nice grow
for the whole
lights.
thing. Okay, and each lamp is 7,000 watt lamp, so you're going to get about a million candle power per lamp.
It might seem excessive in these times of tight energy supplies, but Luxor has gone to great lengths to make the system more efficient. Operating hours are now limited, and more advanced equipment has been installed. But still, the electric bill for this contraption is a bit higher than yours at home.
It's $51 an hour, and $20 of that we figure is electricity.
It gets pretty hot in the lamp room, even without the light turned on. 136 degrees on the day of our visit, but if it's heat you want, try climbing that final ladder into the very top of the pyramid, where it's another 20 degrees hotter due to the glass walls. We didn't argue when the staff cracked open a window. It isn't every day you get up at the top of the Luxor and they open up a window for you, and so you want to take advantage of the opportunity. I'm tempted to maybe throw out some laundry, to see if it'll dry, or maybe slide all the way down on my butt, or something else, like...
Man.
What's that?
The Pharaoh's newest
Luxor
pyramid.
don't want me to do any of that.
The Pharaoh's newest
The real
pyramid.
show begins just after sundown, when the system automatically kicks in. First with warning noises and flashes, then with the whole shebang.
There we go. We got the light for Lucifer.
And once those lights are on, all sorts of company comes
Pharaoh.
calling. All sorts. On a clear night, the Luxor sky beam is visible from 250 miles away. It's an attraction for tourists, of course, but it attracts visitors of another sort. Bugs, big ones. From certain distances, the column of critters can look like strange craft floating over the hotel.
What we get are people wanting to know about the sparkly lights going up into heaven.
A closer look reveals the specks in the light are bugs, mostly large moths, as well as birds and bats who show up for the nightly bug buffet. It's a show worthy of the Strip.
Tons of curious onlookers. It's quite the spectacle. Lots of bugs. Bugs, birds. Thought they were bats for a while, but I think I've definitely made them out to be birds.
Tourists on the ground might find it all vaguely entertaining, but for the technicians in charge of the Luxor sky beam, bugs are a menace.
Laws of the enemy, right. Laws of the enemy.
John Lichtsteiner is the Luxor's technical manager and thus oversees the ongoing battle between man and bug. The Luxor light isn't one big light, it's 39 individual xenon lamps, each costing about $1,200, each capable of generating about 1 billion candle power. And that much light attracts any self-respecting bug within flying distance. The Luxor does its best to seal up the very top of the pyramid to keep them all out. But as the giant intake fans show, many get through anyway. The lights are so hot that when a bug dies on the glass above each lamp, it cooks. Then the glass cracks and the light is damaged.
Once somebody left the window completely open, and we lost like a dozen of these 39 lenses.
You might figure the most powerful light in the world might attract curious creatures of similar stature. And it's true to an extent. The Luxor says helicopter pilots just can't seem to resist flying through the light. The beam is now a regular stop on chopper tours. Our own chopper had to give it a try. 7 years ago, there were concerns from pilots and the FAA about potential dangers to aviation, but Luxor has accommodated all concerns.
We've got 3 strobes on each side. And the purpose of the strobes is, as I'm told from the original installation, was to flash for 30 seconds to warn the pilots that, hey, be careful, the light's going to be coming on. And then when we did our remodel, we had some other ideas about moving lights and that sort of thing. I talked to the FAA, Mr. Larry Tonish. He said, we don't have any problem as long as you don't make that light move.
Chances are, pilots get as much a kick out of seeing the light come on as the rest of us.
Boxing.
It's boxing. That's great for businesses. I'm gonna take my weed there as soon as it's ready. Oh yeah, it reminds me. Get my bro. Shit. Scare your cat. Cat's gonna kill you, little bitch. That dog is scared for its fucking life. It's shitting its pan. Ooh, surfing cat. Nice.
Come on, boy. Come on. You can do it. Come on, you can do it. Yes, you can. Come on. One step at a time. Yeah, come on.
Scared him.
Uh-oh, Fluffy. No. Yeah.
Scaredy dog. Dog is terrified.
Come here. Come over there.
Oh shit, it's a big ass cat. Play dead. Put his fucking dick on his face. Holy shit, dude.
Oh my god, there's a fire!
Shit. Eating his ear. It's gonna eat the cat's ear, dude. Not after that.
Hi there, it's Joe from StoringNuts.com. When we first bought this property, what we did first, we took out the sod, and then we dug down approximately a foot. And what I did there was looking for the layer of topsoil on top. I wanted to get that out of here because we can't.
Now we've got a pretty strong sun here, so I'm going to just mist the concrete down as we go in between each stage here so it doesn't fire off too fast. And just finish cleaning off my tools. Or the jitterbug tamper, you want to just get right. Now this slab is going to be a finished interior slab, so this is the finished floor in the building we're working on. So we're putting a lot of extra attention into filling these little surface imperfections.
Concrete slabs have a tendency to crack. There's not much you can do about stopping that.
If you're doing a slab that's going to be underneath carpeting or floor or going to be a garage, you can probably work with this a little bit.
It's concrete time, baby!
On the perfectionist side and not worry about surface imperfections too much.
Just got my new weed sack. Smoke time, baby. Bong time. BRP, change bong water.
Working the cream a little bit. I want to be careful not to overwork it, but at the same time,
pretty good.
I want to be sure my level is as smooth as I can make it.
It seems like that's like pretty much the only tool you need. Like if you don't really care, you just want to do a rough job. Just do the giant thing, make it smooth, and call it a fucking day.
And I can just use it to clean up like this. Now it's really good to get underneath these anchor bolt anchors or any other obstacles that you have in the way, because your plate needs to sit down on top of these, and if you've got a bunch of concrete popping up here, it's going to make it a little difficult to get your plate to sit down flat. So a little attention around those edges is a good idea. And this is starting to set up pretty well now. So when I've got some spots where I need a little extra mud, I can put quite a bit of pressure here. Make sure I get everything in place. All right, here we've got a small hole in our concrete, and we're already pretty set up. So again, I'm going back to my pile of clean concrete that I left over. I'm going to tamp this in here, just sort of connect it, mix it up with the concrete underneath it. I don't want it to just be a surface patch, because then it won't adhere and bond well. I got it in there. I can really jam it up. Put some pressure on it. And just with this float, I can actually bring a lot of cream to the top. I don't have to re-tamp this whole thing out. This is just a good way to fill in low spots. Again, the more even you can get the perimeter especially, and if you're doing a finish slab, the interior as well. But the more even you get this, the easier it's going to be to work your frame up from here. Now I'm just going down the sides, basically vibrating the concrete down so I don't get a honeycomb look, which is, basically if you flatten that down, you can see the gravels and some cavities where the gravel was, and voids and bumps. It's just an ugly finish. So here,
by just vibrating it out like this, the concrete will settle down and smooth out enough to where we get a nice clean finish when we remove the form boards. The final step is to use a steel trowel. Now, it's important to know exactly when the slab is ready for you to get on it in terms of troweling it out. If you get on too early, it'll squish all over the place. If you come too late, you can miss it and it'll be too hard to work. So you just want to keep an eye on it. It's going to vary on your weather. If you're in direct sun, if you're in shade, what the temperature is, the moisture content of the air, all those things have an effect. So you just want to keep track of it. When you get it to where it's really hard, you can put a lot of pressure on it, and it just barely cleans up the surface, you're ready to get on. Now I start in the middle and work my way back out so I can do the final finish from solid ground. In order to get out to the middle, I'm using knee boards. It's called an easy kneeler. You can use just a regular piece of plywood with a handle screwed on from the underside so you can move it around. The idea is to set these out here far enough that you can reach out to the middle, and because they're wider, they're not really taking the weight of your body on your knees. You're taking it spread out over the larger surface area so it doesn't leave a dent. Now when you get out to finish it, just using a regular steel trowel, you want to keep an angle on it and push down on the back side. So whichever direction you're moving, you're pushing down on the back side of the trowel. You just want to go back and forth and start out with some harder strokes where you're really putting some muscle into it. And that'll help you smooth out any irregularities. And then as you work it in more and more, you can become more and more gentle on the actual trowel itself, and you'll find that the cream will start to work back in to the slab nicely. You want to overlap from where you last were and leave space to overlap in the other direction. Now depending on how smooth you want your finish, that's going to depend on the number of times you go over this. You know, do the whole slab and then come back and do the slab again. You can really polish it out. And then to move back, I just step onto my rear knee board here, move this one behind me, use my trowel to lean on. And I got my feet on there, it keeps my feet. Otherwise, if I just use one, I have a tendency to want to put my feet down, and I can't reach out as far onto the slab because I've only got one to work with. This takes a little practice to get the right angle and the right touch so you're not gouging holes and you're not leaving marks that look worse than when you started. So don't get discouraged.
Now it's time to party, yeah, 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 yeah.
Word here.
Everybody wants to party.
Now,
unboxing of the drug.
This is
drug
unboxing.
unboxing.
Nice. There are much simpler ways of doing it. You can
You guys
use
ready
just a
to see
broom,
this drugs
drag a broom
unboxing?
across it to actually make broom extensions.
Yeah, you guys ready to watch me unbox my drugs? Huh? 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 Who's watching this? A bunch of fucking lurkers? Bunch of fucking lurky turkeys on me? Got a fucking bunch of lurky turkeys? Well, you can write and piss off. If you want some of this weed, you're gonna have to call me. You better have my phone number. Otherwise, you can't get none of this weed. Ow! This looks like some fire. Put more smoke in it. Hey. Motherfucking represent. Hey. Fire. Oh, it's fire. Oh, dingleberries. Pretty good, pretty good. It's greenhouse weed. Grown in the California sun, baby. That is prime time, ladies and gentlemen, prime time. I'm going to go give some to a house establishment. We'll be right back. The most smoke, yeah. Represented clear. Got some fire. Yo, who's trying to watch me blow some fire? Fire. Put no smoke in the air. Represent your clear. Fire. Yeah, you got that fire. Fire. I love weed, but it's so counterproductive, so hard to juggle stoner life, normal life. I just am stoner all the time, sober all the time, no middle ground. I can feel that, man. I'll be right back and we'll have a talk about that. I'm gonna go get an ice cube from my bong. Fire. Putting more ice cubes in the bong. Yeah, no. I can like feel the productiveness. I don't smoke. But if you have something to do, then it's like easy to just quit. So I don't know what you're talking about. I'm fired up to get this new job and start this new grow. Get some money saved up and get my own thing going, man. So it is a little bit counterproductive, but once I get like shit going, you know, I'll stop, and like then it becomes less counterproductive because you just do it when you're not busy. But when you're just stoning out all the time, you can get caught in a stoner vindaloop. That's what you want to watch out for, obviously. I'm in this situation where I probably could have got in. I'm in a little bit of a stoner vindaloop, but not really at the same time. It's over other circumstances. But I like to stoner vindaloop. During the off time, because it makes me feel more well, let's be honest, what it is, it's forget about shit, forget about all the bad shit, you just fucking zone out into another land of whatever shit. And I got weed again, boys. Let's try to conserve it this time and be a good boy. Probably gotta sell some to the fams. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Let's buy some more. You don't want to get caught in a stoner vindaloop. Yeah, exactly. If you have the time and space, then it's all good. But if you don't, I don't know what to tell you. If you get caught up in a stoner vindaloop, there we go. Each one of these little vials holds like quarter of an ounce. 1, 2, 3, 4 vials. You got yourself an ounce. All right, let's give this stuff a pack. I'm gonna take my shirt off for added comfort. If you guys don't mind. I know you like to watch me smoke with my shirt off anyways. It's good stuff.
For
turn back on
the
this
same extension cord I
concrete
was doing
vid.
with the bowl float, you can get longer.
I'm gonna watch the real concrete vid.
We used the welded wire mesh in there to stop those cracks from opening deeper once they've occurred. You can also use
let's get this bong going
down in the concrete when you pour it, which will help stop those cracks from starting initially. But basically, you're going to get cracks one way or another. So one way to avoid getting cracks where you don't want them is to put control joints in the concrete. You can do this with the concrete as wet using what's called a grooving tool or a groover.
I'm about to put fucking big rebar and a layer of that fucking small welded rebar.
Run it across the concrete.
Just for some added fucking.
Now, if you're doing smaller slabs like sidewalks, then you want to kind of try to keep it in squares.
It's like 2 layers of the metal shit.
Sidewalk, then 3 feet on center, you want to put your grooves. Another way to do it is to use a masonry blade on a circular saw after the concrete is cured, and you can saw cut those screws.
Saw cut.
Now the idea is to keep it about 1/4 inch of the depth of the slab. So if you've got a 4-inch slab, the depth of your groove should be 1 inch. You don't want to go over that because then you get into the structural integrity of the slab itself.
Oh, okay.
So to do a groove, it takes quite a bit of skill.
slab.
You're pushing wet concrete out of the way with the grooving tool, especially if you have a long run to go on. It can be a pretty difficult task to do. Now you can see there's a slight line ahead of where we're pushing our grooving tool right now.
and we'll use more and more extension handles as we get out there further into the field. The line that we're following is just simply a snap chalk line that we do ahead of time, which we'll show you a little bit further into the project here, how you can do that. And you see we kind of work it back and forth. We're not just able to push straight through all the way.
Oh, stinky weed. Oh, it's stinky.
Set up enough already that it's starting to firm up.
Stinky.
If we get in there when it's too wet, it'll just...
Yo, I got the stinky. What you know about
Now we're all the way out to the full extension of our poles, all the way out to where we need to be. You can see the bounce on the pole. You want to be careful not to bounce too much.
Fire up that stinky.
That'll start to wobble at the actual
I just
base
packed
of the
a
groover.
fat bowl, man.
Start to draw moisture up to the surface from the bouncing of that on the surface. So as steady as you can keep it, you need to be able to get it to as far out as you want, and then hit the part, lifting it high enough so that the back end comes off of the concrete before you start to draw it towards you. If you don't lift the back end off the concrete as you draw towards yourself, it'll actually lift the concrete out and make a full mess of the concrete.
What it is, how
what's you're going to end
can the
up
player just hit that bone?
Those represent the outside of the plate that you were just pushing to make your groove. You need to come back with a trowel and clean those up. We're using a trowel here on an extension pole, which takes quite a bit of skill to do. You want to set it down and then give it just a little bit of a twist so that it lifts the front end of the trowel up as you're sliding it across. And by using the steel trowel out on the extension pole, we clean off those lines and get a nice clean groove right down the middle without any representation of where the outside of the plate was. So here we're snapping lines. We're going to run some perpendicular grooves to our main groove. So we've got them marked out on the side of the foam board exactly where we want to have these grooves in place. And in general, you want to keep them about 6 inches away from any wall that they're going to be running parallel with. Anytime you have a groove that's right on a wall, if that wall is framed slightly out of square, you're going to see it. It's going to be very obvious. Whereas if that groove is either buried in the wall or out 6 inches from the wall, you won't be able to see the variations in the framing at all. So here we just take a basic chalk line, put it on our marks, pull it tight, and snap a line. And then we can use our grooving tool right along those lines. So now we go along the lines that we've snapped out, again using the same grooving tool, and you can see the force it takes to move this plate along. Again, we want to bounce it enough to get movement to it, but not so much that we start to bring moisture to the surface. We'll work it back and forth across from one side to the other. And you can see right there in the center where we meet that perpendicular line that it actually creates a little bit of a blob of concrete in that line. That's pretty much impossible to get rid of. What we'll want to do is push all the way through here, and we'll move most of it out, but it will push a little bit of concrete into the perpendicular line. So one way we can do this is wait for things to firm up just a little bit so we can get on there, onto the concrete with our knee boards. And once we're on there with our knee boards, we can use a hand groover to get in there and clean that up so you don't have any misplaced concrete. We wanted to slow down the curing of the surface of the concrete so we can continue to work it with the trowel, and then also later we're going to be doing some stamping. So we're using what's called con film. We just spray that on top and trowel it in, and it slows down the whole process. It leaves the surface much more pliable for a longer period of time. So if you're going to be doing any significant troweling or stamping, then this is a really important way to slow down the cure. Now here we're just going to go back and forth over these grooves. You want to keep working the stuff as the concrete's curing. Again, we've sprayed the con film on there, so we've slowed down the cure process, which gives us more time to work these grooves really clean. You can see as he lifts it out, as he lifts the grooving tool out of the groove, he doesn't just pick it up. He'll actually put it in at an angle, push it, tilt it, pull it back at an angle. So watch here, the tilt goes up and tilts it back. And then as he comes out, you can either pull it out at that angle like that or tilt it back up the other direction and pull it out. If you just try to lift it out of the groove or pull it straight out the back to the forms, again, you'll get a mess of concrete all around the area where you did your lift out. Now the whole time we're doing the grooving and the cleaning of the grooves, we want to make sure you've got someone behind you with a trowel who's cleaning up the lines from the edge of the grooving plate and working that con film back into the surface. the final pull on the long groove we've got here. Now we're trying to clean this last groove out. It's the last pull we'll do all the way through. You have to have a second person there to help you get the grooving plate off of the surface of the concrete, because with this much extension pull, there's no way you'll be able to lift it and maintain that angle. So you see, as we get right to the edge here with the grooving plate, the second guy will lift it off at the end. Another type of joint is called an isolation joint. Now these are used to isolate two different slabs from each other, or a slab from a footing. The idea is that if you don't do that, they're going to stick on each other as they try to move, and because they're set up as independent pours, they'll want to move at different times and in different directions, and so with them attached to each other, they'll end up cracking. So if you have a footing and you're going to pour, say, a floating slab on top of that, what you'd want to do is put some type of plastic or other type of isolation material in between the footing and the concrete slab. That'll allow each slab to move independent of each other. If you have drainage issues on your site, it's a good idea to install a curtain drain. And basically what that is it's perforated pipe that's laid around the perimeter of the foundation. You can cut that down slightly below the grade of the footing, off to the side, or have it even with the side of the footing. Now, you want to then pack gravel, loose gravel around that pipe, and wrap the whole thing in an earth fabric, which keeps the dirt and soils from getting into the drain. And also, especially if you're doing a wall that needs to be waterproofed on the interior, you want to use what's called a sheet drain, which is a plastic board that allows water to move through, but then it has fabric on one side of that, which again keeps the silts out of that from clogging it up. So that's one way you can collect the water around the outside of a house, pipe it together, and then daylight it out somewhere downhill so that any water that gets into the area around the house is immediately drained away. Otherwise, you have moisture problems coming into the house, and what that creates for the inside as well can be a problem.
So I'm sitting here just about 50 feet up the hill from the lot because it's shady and it's a warm May day, and I made the mistake of wearing a long sleeve shirt today, so it's pretty nice in the shade. But we are to the point now where we have to decide what sort of a foundation we're going to put under this house. Now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to know that the foundation is probably the most important part of your house. It's certainly the most difficult part of a house to fix if it goes bad. I've done that a few times. I've gone as far as to have to pick a house up and move it off a foundation, tear the foundation out, put one back, and move the house back. And the costs add up pretty quick when you have to do something like that. So as we think about what kind of a foundation to install, and you think about what kind of foundation you might want to install, you need to think about, what does a foundation do? It holds the house at the right elevation and distributes the weight of the house on the soil. It embeds into the soil so the house has lateral stability, so it doesn't just slip down the hill, or in the event of an earthquake, slide all over the place. It has to be embedded in the soil to resist sliding. It has to be made of something that is bug-proof, that will not rot. This means a stone product, concrete or block in most cases. It has to be dimensionally perfect. I mean, it has to be the size of your house. It has to be level. And if there are steps in the foundation, they all need to be uniformly flat. It needs to be set on soil that has been prepared, or it needs to be built in such a way that it interacts with the soil, so you don't get any more than about a half an inch of settlement, or specifically differential in settlement, between any two places in the house. And ideally, you would have no differential. I mean, if the whole house settles half an inch, that's one thing. But if one part of the house settles none at all and the other settles an inch or an inch and a half, now that's a problem. So your foundation has to be calculated and understood so it works with the soil conditions on the site to provide stable footing. It has to be able to get wet where it needs to get wet. It has to be able to remain dry where it needs to remain dry. It has to have the attachments, the hold downs, the anchor bolts, those kinds of things that will attach the structure to the foundation, and you have to be able to afford it. Generally speaking, you have three fairly typical choices when it comes to a foundation. You might put your house on a basement, you might put your house on a crawl space, or you might put your house on a slab on grade. Now, we have a video about basements and why we are not choosing that here. So that leaves us with the opportunity to talk about putting this house on a crawl space or on a slab on grade. When I talk about building on a crawl space, it's a foundation that allows you space to crawl underneath your floor. How is this done? It's done by trenching around the perimeter to get down to a soil elevation that is maybe below a frost line, or down to an elevation where the soil moisture content is consistent, or down to a level where the compaction is uniform, or down to whatever place for whatever of these dirt work reasons pertain to your site. You know you're at the right elevation for placing a footing. So you have, with a crawl space, you've established how deep you're going to trench your footing. You've established, with an engineer's help, how wide your footing is. The footing, by the way, is the bottom part of the foundation. It's wider than the stem wall. It's wide so that the weight of the structure that's pushing down on that foundation is spread over as much soil as it needs to be to hold up the weight of the structure. Some footings are 12 inches wide, some are 16, some are 24, some are 10 feet wide or wider. In this case, I'm guessing, since it's a two-story house, part of this lot is fairly soft, part of it is pretty hard. I'm guessing that the footings will probably be 16 inches in some areas and 24 inches in others. Maybe a uniform 24 inches, perhaps wider. But in any case, the footing has to be wide enough to hold things up. It has to have rebar in it. The rebar is there to provide tensile strength in the footing and to provide a way to connect the stem wall, which is the vertical part of the footing, to that footing. Whether the stem wall is made of concrete that's cast in place or cinder block. So the stem wall, the foundation wall, is the part that sits on the footing and comes up whatever height you need to come up to get up above the level of the dirt, and then far enough up that the bottom of your floor joists, those are the boards that carry the floor, and the bottom of any beams that are supporting the floor joists in mid-span is far enough above the dirt underneath the house that the bugs can't get up and get a hold of that beam. That you have room to crawl underneath the beam, crawl underneath the floor joist, get your work done, put your vapor barrier in, install the plumbing and the HVAC, and do the work that needs to be done under there, regardless of what time of year or how fat you are or anything else. There needs to be a certain minimum clearance, which we'll talk about when we build this thing, if we use a crawl space. The footings need to be able to withstand the moisture that could occur. What that means is there needs to be a footing drain. There needs to be a way to catch the water that's down where the footings are. There needs to be a way for any water that gets into the crawl space to find its way out. A lot of people will only consider a crawl space floor because they are concerned about walking on the concrete of a slab-on-grade foundation all the time, would rather walk on a floor that has more life in it, i.e. a wooden diaphragm of floor joists, beams and floor joists and subfloor and those kinds of things. The other type of foundation under consideration is a slab-on-grade. That's a concrete slab-on-grade. A slab-on-grade means a slab on dirt. Grade is dirt. When you change the grade, you're changing the elevation of the dirt. If a road has a steep grade, that means the dirt or the road is steep. So slab-on-grade is a concrete foundation poured directly on the ground, so you have a concrete floor on your ground floor. There are advantages and disadvantages. There are the disadvantages of having to do your plumbing in the dirt underneath the slab before it's poured. The attached disadvantage to that is if that plumbing ever breaks or leaks, now you have to break up concrete to get to it. That's a problem. There are the advantages of absolutely quiet. A concrete floor never squeaks. It never pops. It never, it's quiet. It's cool in the summer. It's also cool in the winter. There is the advantage of, if your construction is going to move forward slowly, you don't have to worry about your concrete floor getting wet while your framing's happening and degrading like a plywood subfloor can. A slab-on-grade foundation depends on the concrete to resist the rot, to establish the dimension, to give compressive strength, to be poured in the shape that you need it, and it depends on the steel inside of that concrete for the tensile strength to keep it from cracking and pulling apart. There are two different ways you can put steel in a slab-on-grade foundation for a house. You can put in rebar. You may have seen us do that in some of our earlier videos. It's put in on specific spacing, a specific distance from the bottom, specific sizes, tied in a particular way,
the concrete is poured, and when the concrete gets hard, it gets a hold of that rebar, and it keeps it from cracking, or if it does crack, it keeps it from pulling apart. Gives it tensile strength. The other way to put steel in a concrete slab on grade is with post-tension cables or tendons. These are very high tensile strength cables that are laid through the forms and in where the slab will be. The slab is then poured around those post-tension tendons, and after the concrete gets really hard, those tendons are stretched hydraulically, and then that tension is released into the concrete slab, holding it together. Picture giant rubber bands being stretched through your concrete slab and attached on each end, pulling that concrete together in all directions simultaneously. So not only do the cracks that happened before you tensioned it disappear, but it's impossible for any cracks to ever form.
707.
A slab like that distributes all of the weight of the building across the whole floor area, more or less. Think of a snowshoe sitting on a big fluffy drift of snow.
Here's some armpit for you.
Your weight is distributed across the entire snowshoe.
Here's a bong rip for you.
Kind of like that. It can handle more differential settling. It can handle a lot of things that other foundations just can't deal with. And frankly, we're thinking about
well, I should be working there already, and I wouldn't have to be worrying about this other shit. But I think I'm good.
Rebar slab on grade.
Hit in your face at work.
If you would be more interested in seeing a crawl space be formed and poured and framed and decked and plumbed, let us know. If you're interested in post-tension, let us know. We haven't decided, but we've got to decide pretty soon. Thanks for watching.
Just hella neat, man up on it. Fucking do it all hella fast. And be proud of yourself. Hooah! Hooah! Make that $12 an hour. Fuck. Alright. I'm gonna go to McDonald's.
Well, guys, here I am. It's early morning. It is
grabbing
6:34 right now. The sun is not up yet. It is pretty wet out there. Pretty dark. It's miserable. It's windy. It's lots of heavy rain.
Oh, good luck, Paulie. We'll see you later tonight, huh?
And to be honest, this is my kind of weather. I'm just crazy like that. I like it wet, I like it cold, I like it rainy, I like the heat. I got my wish today. Look at the wind speed, 14 miles per hour, gusting about 33, and about 37 miles per hour gusts about 20 minutes ago. It is crazy windy right now. Raining hard. I didn't expect it to be this much. I knew it was going to be windy, but not this much. So with this, it becomes a little bit dangerous, I think. All right, guys, we're going to give this a shot, even though it's windy. So I'm going to set up my bait really quick and jump down the pots and come back and hide in my car. Okay, there's our bait. I'm going to put some on the outside too. So chicken is a safe bet. Frozen solid. Okay, guys, I'm going to show you a little close-up of the pod I'm using. This is the Promar TR530 crab pod. All right, my favorite pod. I've used many pods over my lifetime. This by far is my favorite. Reason being is once they go in, they can't get out. You have 3 entry points, 1, 2, and 3. Little door that swings up. You can put in your you can take out the crab. And one of the best thing about this crab pot is the bait box is built in. So that'll save you about $5-6 right there already. Okay? And as you can see, I use chicken. And you can buy these crab harness, pretty much from anywhere. Walmart, Cabela's, Bass Pro. I bought mine from Amazon. Okay? And the pots are non-collapsible. So you gotta be aware of that, okay? They take up a lot of room. They're on transportation and storage, but they work very well. They go for about $80 on Amazon. I believe right now it might be 73. Don't quote on me, but it fluctuates a lot. I got mine 70 for 70. I think $75. They work really well for Dungeness crab. I don't think they work well for blue crab because the mesh is kind of big. But anyways, that's the crab pot that I use. One other thing I forgot to mention is you don't want to. One other thing I forgot to mention is you don't want to drag this on concrete because they're plastic coated and you'll scrape the bottom. You scrape the plastic off. Okay, so very important. Don't drag these on concrete. Yeah! Holy cow! All right. Okay, take a pot away. Hopefully that doesn't get blown away. I'm gonna go wait in my car for 10 minutes. See what happens. Woo! Wow! This is one of the nastiest weather I've ever been in a long time. I did not expect it to be this bad. The forecast say, was it like 13 or 14 miles per hour, which is fine, I don't mind. And 100% chance of precipitation, and I don't mind the rain. But this gust is unexpected. Well, it's all right. I mean, sometimes you just have to do what you can. Mother Nature doesn't always cooperate. So I thought about turning back home. I thought, nah, just gonna throw my pots out there, and I'm just gonna do one pickup. I might get maybe 6, probably 5 or 6 on my first pickup. We'll see. That's good enough for dinner. So that's all I want. Okay, here we go, guys. Feels a little heavy. That might be just the tide, the drag. Oh, we got some. We got some. Look at that. There's one on the top. Oh, jeez. Holy cow. Look at that. This one is too small, I think. Little guy. So, that's awesome looking crab. Clean. There's no barnacles. Okay. Looks like I got 1, 2 in this one. That's about it. Oh well. I'm kind of short on time, so we'll just call it. We'll call it. I'm not going to drop it a second time. There's a lot of bait in there still. This guy right here, I think he's a keeper. Oh, you're a keeper, buddy. You're a keeper. I can tell just by looking at you. Yeah. So, there it is. That's how you measure from the inside. He's about 6. 6 1/4. About 6 1/4 almost. A little bit more, actually. So, that is a male. Okay, this one is small. Yeah. This one is a little small, I think. See how big you are, buddy. That, oh, you're a keeper. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, he's a keeper. Perfect. So I got 2. 2, and I don't know about this guy. I don't know. Oh, so close. No cigar. How about you? Are you legal? Are you legal age? Are you 18? Are you 18? You're 18. You're way over 18. Holy moly. 3. Hey. No fighting. No fighting. Way too small. Yeah. And the rest are all babies. So, back you go. Okay. Number 2. Big money, come on. Oh, feels kind of heavy. Oh, we definitely got something here. Oh, we got one big one. Looks like that's about it. One big one, and that's about it. But, we'll take it. Wow, that's a big one there. Little babies. So that's a big one right there. Looks like he's the only keeper in there. Oh, we gotta run away. We
You got a rudder. You got a rudder. Hey, buddy. Well, looks like I'm going to take 4 home. That's all right. Better than nothing. One here. That is a male. Is that a... Yeah, that's a keeper. Cool. So there's number 1 from the second pot. That's 4 crab. Small. Small. Oh, a rudder. Got another rudder. No good. Too small. Oh man, look at this guy. Holy snap. Wow. That is a male. That's a huge one. That is a big one. Don't look at that. That's about 7 inches. That's a big Dungeness. Okay guys, I'm gonna get on out of here. So I have 1 pickup. So let me show you my catch. I have looks like 5 here. That's like good enough right there. This one being the biggest. Look at the size of these claws. Super, super nummy. Alright, so it's raining, it's wet. I'm gonna get on out of here. Go home and cook these up. Hey, thanks for watching. Have fun fishing. I'll see you next time. Tight lines. Okay guys, so I'm on my way home. I'm gonna cook a really awesome dish for you guys. Okay guys, I'm on my way home now. I'm gonna show you one awesome way to cook these Dungeness crab. And it is called crab nasibi. It's pretty delicious, okay? You've probably heard of nasibi before. Basically, it's just protein sandwiched between rice and wrapped in seaweed. Okay, this one's gonna with protein we're gonna use crab. Okay, so let me show you how to do that because it is one awesome delicious dish. Okay.
heat zone. Stop the stream for a while.